which almost everybody has before we start the training. Okay, the first and the most likely question is that what is the content and what all we are going to learn in this training, right? Look, obviously, we'll start off with Java because Java is the background and we will learn the basic Selenium commands. Okay, and then we have to learn other tools like you'll have to learn TestNG and we will learn about a framework. Okay, a framework is basically an end-to-end project. Okay, suppose if somebody gives you 100 test cases to automate, right? So what will you do to automate those 100 test cases? What kind of approach will you apply? So there are different types of approaches. Okay, each type of approach is a framework, right? And we'll also learn about Selenium Grid, which is used for parallel execution of the scenarios and tests. Right. We'll also learn about Jenkins, Maven, a lot of things. Okay. So in a nutshell, this is the course detail. In the beginning of the course, I will be telling you about Java, but I won't just take Java in first few classes and then go to Selenium. No, I will take Java and the Selenium commands parallelly. Okay, so that I can tell you how the concepts of Java are implemented in Selenium. Okay, we will learn about, say, inheritance, we will learn about object-oriented programming, and we'll see how these things are actually used with Selenium. Okay, we will not just do it theoretically, right? Plus, apart from this, from around fourth day or the fifth day, I will start giving you quizzes. Instead of exercises, we will start with quizzes first. Okay, because when you solve multiple choice questions and when you read pre-written programs, okay, then you learn better, right? Like what would be the output of this program, something like that. Okay, rather than you learning directly from exercises, and gradually we will do lots of exercises as well, right? 50% of the course will be dedicated to learning these tools. Okay, basics of Selenium, Java, TestNG and all. And the rest 50% we will dedicate it on frameworks, Grid, Jenkins and Maven. Okay, if anybody has any questions, then please let me know.
So,
Anyone?
which framework we will learn?
Look, generally people ask me for BDD. Okay. And I think almost everybody in this batch told me about BDD only.
Okay,
So
yes.
we'll do BDD. Okay. I'll talk about frameworks in a little while in detail. Right. Now the thing is, look, Selenium is if you talk about it, then I would say that in 10 days you can learn Selenium. Okay, it's not a problem. But to learn it to a level where you can go and clear an interview or work in a project, if somebody gives you a project to do and you are able to professionally finish the project in maybe some time, so that level of expertise will take you at least 2 months to 3 months. Even after this training is over, um, you will be required to practice. Okay, you will feel the need of practicing even after the training is over. It's not that once the training is over, you would be an expert. You yourself will feel that you need to practice. Okay, right. So, because you know what happens is when you learn Selenium, it's not that you just need to learn Selenium commands or Selenium. There are many things which come over with it. Okay. Look, if you talk about Selenium, then Selenium is just a tool. Okay, it's an open source tool and it's just a tool which will help you to interact with the browsers. As Selenium as a tool has got only commands which can interact with the browser, which can automate the browser. If you have to click on a link, if you have to type somewhere, if you have to open a web page, Selenium can do. But Selenium will never help you generate reports. Selenium will never help you implement test cases. It's just a tool with maybe 20, 30 commands or 50 commands which can help you to interact with the browser. That's it. Okay. Selenium will not, you know, help you to organize your project. Okay. How do you, what do you mean by this? Suppose you have got 500 tests to automate and you automate them and out of 500 you just want to run say the smoke tests, say 50 tests. Then how do you do that? Okay, Selenium will not help you to do that. Okay, so to do these things, you have to learn many other tools, like you have to learn Maven, you have to learn Test, NG. Okay, you will have to learn about extent reports. Okay, I did not write about extent reports. Okay, so you will have to learn about extent reports. Okay, so you have to learn about many other things apart from Selenium when you are working with Selenium. All right. Moreover, Selenium will never help you to manage your test data. Okay. Because when you are writing test cases, when you are, suppose I have to write a simple Selenium script which goes and say sends an email. So I have my test data, I have my email ID, I have my subject. Okay, I have the body of the email. This is my test data. So I will have to store it somewhere. Maybe in a JSON file, maybe in an Excel file or a text file. In some format, I'll have to save it. So you have to manage the data as well. Okay, if you talk about a paid tool, if you talk about a paid tool like UFT, which was earlier known as QTP, okay, then all these things used to come within UFT. Okay, UFT or QTP is a tool. It's an end-to-end solution. You don't have to worry about anything. But Selenium is an open source tool. Okay, so in this, apart from learning Selenium, you have to learn about a lot of other things. Okay, and majorly what happens is that the problem which people face is with Java. Because most of the guys coming to us are manual testers. They aren't proficient in Java. Some of them think that they know Java, but actually they actually are into trouble if you are actually trying to learn Java. So this is a road blocker for most of the people. But the thing is, if you learn Java and if you learn Selenium, then learning other tools, it's easy. Okay, like you have got API testing, which is for REST assured tool if you want to learn, or if you want to learn JMeter for performance testing, or if you want to learn tomorrow Appium, which is used for mobile app automations. Okay, it's built on top of Selenium. Then learning these tools, it becomes easy. At times I have seen that people tend to learn these tools along with Selenium or something. I discourage that practice. Okay, give yourself 2 to 3 months, go and learn Selenium properly and then jump over to these tools. There is no need to jump over to these tools and learning these tools after say 5 days of learning of Selenium. It will not take you anywhere and it will just confuse you. Okay. So it's a process of learning these tools, and it's something which comes with a period of time and practice. It's not something which you can do overnight. Of course, you will be stuck. Of course, when you learn this tool, and especially the frameworks and all, then you will face a lot of difficulties. It is not so easy, honestly. But those are temporary things. You just have to come over it and solve these things. Right. Now, talking about a framework, like most of the people are interested in a framework. Okay, that is what kind of project will you be doing with us? Okay, look, there are different types of frameworks. What is a framework? Okay, suppose if a client gives you again 500 tests to automate or 5,000 tests to automate, then what kind of approach will you apply? Okay, there are different types of approaches, 4 to 5, and each type of approach is known as a framework. Okay, one of the framework is known as a data-driven framework. One is a hybrid framework. One is page object model, and the last one is Cucumber PD. First of all, these three frameworks are concepts. Okay, right. What do you mean by concept? There are no pre-written rules or tools to build these three types of frameworks. Okay, right. Okay. But Cucumber is not a concept, it's a tool with many commands which you have to learn. Okay, inherently Cucumber is made data driven only. All right. The thing is, Cucumber has become quite famous in the market and everybody is running towards Cucumber. If you want me to take Cucumber in this training, I have no issues. I can take it. Okay. But believe me, the most easiest framework, which I always tell people, and the most easy to learn, easy to implement, easy to change. Okay, the biggest problem with framework is not building the framework. The biggest problem with the framework is changing the framework. Because once you make the framework, it goes live, it's running fine. Tomorrow, if the application changes in the maintenance phase of the framework, if the application changes, then we have to change the framework. Data-driven framework is most easy to build, learn, and change as well. If a client comes to me and tells me I have to build a framework and he doesn't specify which kind of framework, I always build data-driven framework. Okay. If you talk about Cucumber, it's the most complex one and most tough to change and learn as well. For a beginner, I always suggest people that start with data-driven. Okay. Don't jump over to any advanced framework because inherently, if you talk about hybrid framework, inherently hybrid framework is also data-driven. Page object model inherently is also data driven and Cucumber inherently is also kind of data driven itself. So I always ask people to go with the data driven framework. It's most easy to build, learn and change. But in the online training, I can only take one of these frameworks. For the rest of these frameworks, you can go uh, in the pre-recorded sessions. When you join the training, you get access to these pre-recorded sessions. In the pre-recorded sessions, I have taken All the types of frameworks like TestNG, data-driven page object model, everything has been taken. Okay. So I would request you to, you know, learn with this. But if you want to me to take Cucumber, I can take it. But the only thing is that the learning curve it increases. Okay, right. Okay. So there are three things, major things. Firstly, it's going to take a little while for you to learn this tool. And you just don't need to learn Selenium. We have to do a lot of other things. It's just like, you come to me and tell me that, I want to learn how to make a car, right? Now, for building a car, I need to build the wheels, I need to build the body of the car, the internals, the engine, everything. Selenium is like the engine of the car. Okay. Apart from building the engine, you have to learn a lot of other things to make a complete vehicle, a complete car. Okay. And about the frameworks you learned, I told you that there are different types of frameworks. We can do Cucumber BDD because most of the people before the training have requested me to do. 50% of the time will go in learning Cucumber and commands, and 50% of the time in this batch is going to learn about, like, we'll learn about Java and the Selenium commands. Right. So anybody with any questions till now?
Yes,
Any?
yes, I have a question. Like, the employees, do they have any like the requirement or something like we have to follow certain framework, or like it's on us, like whichever framework we like to use on the
Depends on
like
the
the
client.
okay.
Most of the times the client specifies that you have to learn this type of framework, you have to do this type. Sometimes the client doesn't, he's not aware of frameworks, he just wants to automate the test cases. Okay,
Okay,
it
thank
works
you.
like this. Yeah, right. Anybody else? Any
So we
question?
will go with Cucumber BD framework or data-driven framework.
Look, we can go through Cucumber BDD because I know there are lots of job openings for this. Okay, I'm
Cucumber
not, I'm,
BD.
I don't have a problem. All I suggest people is that you should always start with data. Okay, you will end up building more confidence with yourself while learning, and in the end, you should do that. But I know it's a time-taking process, so we'll do the Cucumber BDD in the training. Right. Okay. Any other question from anyone? Right. So let's start with the training, and I'll start with the basics. Okay, most of you must be knowing about these things, which I'm telling you, but some of you might not be knowing. So just gathering a little bit of things together in the initial class. Right. So first of all, I am assuming you have got knowledge of basic programming. Okay. You know what integers are, you know what for loops are, you know what functions are. Basic programming, I am assuming. If you're a kind of person who has never done programming, I would suggest you not to join the online class. You just get the access to the videos which we have first, learn from the videos, get some background about Java and basics of programming, solve the exercises over there, and then join the class. Okay. What we are interested in OOPS, object-oriented programming, and we'll be starting off with the concepts of OOPS because the entire, the API of Selenium, the complete Selenium is dependent on object-oriented programming. If you go to the official website of Selenium, okay, the first line it says that Selenium automates browsers. Okay, it's only for web-based automation. Okay, and if you go to the downloads section, the latest stable version is 4.3. Okay, and if you scroll down, it's available with different languages. We all know that, right? And you see, these are the API docs. Okay, this is the official documentation in Java for Selenium. Okay, if you open this documentation, I will teach you with this documentation. Go to the frames view. This is having the complete information about Selenium classes and interfaces. But to understand this documentation, you need to learn about object-oriented programming in a better way. And then you can come down to this documentation. Okay, so the primary objective firstly is that in coming few classes, we'll be learning about OOPS, and parallelly, we will open Selenium and learn about the Selenium commands as well. Right. Okay. So the first thing is, guys, please install JDK. Okay, most of you would be having JDK with you. Okay, you just have to type download Java. If you just have JRE, please install JDK as well. And it's the complete Java. You can install any version, like JDK 11 is best. You can install it. Okay, you can go to the Oracle website and just you can select the version you have, the installer, and uh, it will download. Right. You will have to create a login on this site, the Oracle website, and after that you can download. Okay. Once you install JDK, right, in your C drive program files under Java, you will be seeing these two folders. Okay, right. The next thing is, almost everybody who would have done this. Only thing is that sometimes people only install JRE, they don't install JDK. I would request you to install JDK and JRE both. Okay, when you install JDK, both will come up, right? And the next thing is obviously Eclipse. Most of you must be knowing about Eclipse. It's the editor for Java language. Okay, you can download Eclipse from the Eclipse website, and um, sometimes people also use IntelliJ. This is IntelliJ, right? But I don't prefer to use this with Selenium, right? Because this is huge. Okay, this is for the developers and all. Okay, people who do the development work as well. Okay, it doesn't make sense. Okay, Eclipse is more than enough for at least starting with Selenium and learning Selenium, right? And you can download Eclipse from here. Okay, and you can start Eclipse after installing it. Right, so this is the workspace path. This is the path where you will be storing the entire code which is made in the training. Okay, we'll store the entire code which will also be available to you. I'll make it available. Right, so you can store the entire code on this location and you can start up Eclipse. And if you have any questions, you can surely let me know. Okay, today is the first class. Many of you might be having any questions. No question is a bad question. Okay, even after the training, if you have any questions, you can surely let me know. Okay, and this is the welcome screen of Eclipse. Close it, and many of you might have worked on Eclipse. Okay, it's a very interesting tool and it can make a lot of things easy. And we'll see that. We'll see that gradually. Okay. And you create your first Java project. Okay, you can go to File, New, Java project, or in your case, you might not see this option. You can go to File, New, Project. Under Java, you can select Java project. Okay, I'll call it day one. Right. So this is the project. And this is the JRE, which is actually Java, which is installed in your system. Okay. And this is the source folder in which we'll be making the entire code. If you right click on this project, you will get lots of options. We will see these options gradually. One of the options is the properties option in the end, which we will be using quite frequently. It's got a lot of things. It's also got the location where this project is lying. Okay, the physical location on the drive, which was the path we gave. And if you click on this icon, the Explorer will open. See, this is the project. Okay, and it's got a lot of things inside it, out of which only the source folder is visible to us in Eclipse. Okay, now on the source folder, you can make a new Java file. That's known as a class. Okay, and I can name it as basics with the main function. You click on this checkbox. Almost all the programming languages have a main function. This is the starting point. Okay, if you learn C Sharp, if you learn any other programming languages, then all the programming languages have a main function. Hold on, let me just improve the system, the font size. Yeah, I hope it's clear to you now. So this is the class basics, and this is the main function. The control comes in this function for the very first time when you run the program. Okay, and you can type something like system.out.println to sys. This command is to print something in Java. Okay, so hello, and you can simply click on this run button to run the program. Right, so this is going to print hello. So I am assuming basic things that you know what an integer is, you know what a string is, okay, and you know what for loops are, what while loops are. Almost everybody knows these things these days. Okay, I need to focus on oops, object-oriented programming. But before I jump over to that, there are a few things which you also need to understand and learn, right? For example, this is basics.java. Okay, if you open your project on the hard drive, basics.java will be present in the source folder as well. Okay, I've opened it in a notepad, and corresponding to this, you will be seeing this bin folder in which you have a class file. Okay, this class file is like an executable file in Java. I can deploy this class file on any operating system. I can deploy it on Linux. I can deploy it on any platform, okay, Mac, and I can run this file. There are ways through which you can run this file. I'm not going into those ways. But basically what I'm trying to say is that in Java, every Java file is converted to a class file. And that class file can be sent over to the client or any other person who can use the class file. Or you can run this class file anywhere on any other PC. Okay, suppose if I just make a new Java file known as name, and in name.java, I just go and print Selenium and I run the program. So obviously it will print Selenium and name.class file you will be seeing out here. Okay, so every Java file is converted to a class file. Why am I telling you this? Okay, it's because let me show you with the diagram. Sometimes when you make a project, you end up making a lot of class files. Maybe 1000 class files or 1000 Java files you make.
and 1000 Java files are converted to 1000 class files. And you have to give all the class files to the client. Okay, so you zip or you put all the class files in a single file, which is known as a jar file. And this jar file can be delivered to the client. When the developers say that they are deploying the code, okay, you can say that a kind of they are deploying the jar files only, not exactly jars, but they are deploying the class files. Okay, so the jar file is something which is having a lot of class files, and the single jar file can be given to any. It's just like zipping. Okay, if somebody asks you for 10 files, you zip them together, right? So in Java, when you zip, it's known as a jar file. Okay. For example, if you look at this JRE system library, okay, if you expand this, you will see a lot of jar files. These are jar files. Okay, these jar files, they came to your Eclipse or you came to your PC when you were building or when you were installing Java. Okay, when you install Java, these jar files, they come to you. These jar files have got many inbuilt features which can be used by you. Okay, for example, if I want to print the current date, then you just need to write new date like this, import date. Now, what am I doing? Import new date. Forget about that. Guys, just a minute. I'm sorry. I just need to connect the charger. I did not do that. I'm sorry. Just give me 1 minute, okay? Just 1 minute. Yeah, sorry. Okay. So if you just write this new date, what is new date? Forget about that right now. But if I run my program, then it prints the current date, time zone, everything. So I never had to write the logic. Okay, I used an inbuilt class in Java. This date class is somewhere among these jar files. Inside these jar files, each jar file will have a lot of class files. Okay, this date class is somewhere inside these jars. And this can be used to simply print the date. So I don't have to write the logic to get the date, time zone, time, everything. Okay, and the same thing is in Selenium. In Selenium, all the commands are inbuilt. You don't have to invent the wheel. You just have to understand and learn those commands. Okay, Selenium has got its own set of jar files. Okay, if you go to selenium.dev and if you go to the downloads section, you can download the jars from this stable 4.30 link. Okay, you can download this and it will, hold on, extract it. Hold on. Right, so when you extract this, you get a lot of jar files. There is no exe for Selenium. You have to work with these jars, and there are jars which are inside the lib folder as well. Okay, so these jars are given by Selenium guys, and they have lots of class files in these jars. and these class files help you to use predefined commands which are obviously for browser interaction. Okay, so you just include these jar files inside Eclipse. Okay, in your Eclipse, you right click on day one and you go to the properties, right? And you will see Java build path, this option, and you select the libraries tab. Okay, click on class path and click on add external jars. I'm recording this session. I'll give you the recordings as well. Okay, and go to the location where you had kept the jar files and include all the jar files except the lib folder, like don't include this folder, and also include the jar files in the class path which are inside the lib folder. Don't forget this, otherwise things will not work properly. So if you do this, then you will see reference libraries section generated over here, under which you will see all the jars which you have added. And these are the Selenium jars. Okay, now your project is Selenium enabled and you can start writing some Selenium commands. Okay, so if you write say new hold on, new Firefox driver. Okay, in your case, don't try to do this. Okay, I'm just telling you. So this is a simple command which is going to open Firefox. Okay, in my PC, I've done few changes. It won't open. Okay, I've changed few exes, or no, Chrome will also not work right now on my PC. Hold on. No, I don't think so. No, it won't work. So see, the browser initially launched and then it crashed. I've done few changes in my PC. That's why it's not working. So the thing is, these commands they will help you to simply say open the browsers. Okay, I never had to do any hard work to open the browsers. Okay, so I have done few settings. The browsers will not open, but Selenium, everything is inbuilt. You don't have to worry about anything. Okay, you just need to include these jars and you need to understand the Selenium commands, and you can only understand Selenium commands if you learn about object-oriented programming. Oops. Right. Moreover, before I jump over to Oops, there are few features in Eclipse which you need to understand. Many times as a beginner, you are using Eclipse for the first time and you confuse yourself because you don't know how really to use it, and at times you are stuck. Okay, like for example, many times people close this package explorer and then they don't know how to bring it back. So the best thing is you Google it out. Okay, the best of the best developers or programmers are not the ones who know everything. They are the ones who are the best at searching on Google, honestly. Okay, so the right way is actually the honestly the right way to learn a tool is you need to understand or have the knack of searching on Google in the right way. Anyways, right, you can also bring it back. You can go to Windows, Show View, Project Explorer. You see that this day one Project Explorer or the day one folder has come up. So you can go to Windows, Show View, Project. Similarly, at times you close this console and on the bottom on which the output comes in. You can bring it back from Windows, Show View, Console. Right. At times, you know, the number of files in your project, they are huge. I have just made 2 files. Sometimes there are 50 files and you forget that where the file was lying. Okay, you can search the file. You hit Control Shift and T of the keyboard, telephone, Control Shift and T, and you start typing the name of the file. For example, I forgot where basics was lying. So if you type basics, you will end up seeing all the files with the word basics, which ones which are in the jar files as well, ones which you have made as well. So this is the one which you want. Okay, so this is just like a file search stuff, Control Shift T. Okay, like for example, in the last batch, this was the batch. Okay, I made so many things in this, right? And suppose uh, in one of the projects I had made a file and I'd forgotten about it. So you can hit Control Shift and T and you can just um, start typing. So portfolio details was one of the files and this is the one. Okay, right. So this is how you can search about it. And uh, one of the most important things is that in Eclipse, you keep these two arrows link with editor clicked. Always have them clicked. This is because when you open files from this top tab, as soon as you select the file on in the package explorer will get highlighted. See, if I select basics, it will get highlighted where it is there in the package explorer. If I select name, it will get highlighted. When your project becomes huge, it becomes easy this way because right now I'm opening this file. Tomorrow, if I open this file, then this will get highlighted. If I open this file, then this file will get highlighted. Okay, so as soon as I open the file gets highlighted in the package explorer. Okay, so this helps a lot. Find link with editor, always have it clicked. Another thing, Control Shift T to find a file. And there are many other things I'll tell you gradually. Windows show view to have some panel enabled or disabled. Okay, right. Now, anyone with any questions or doubts, anything from anyone? Okay, nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
One thing, like you show us like how to import the jar file from the Selenium side. Like, do we need to add any other jar file from any other
No, you
software
just
or
need
something?
to add Selenium right now. Later on, we'll add more.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, right. So now, oops, today was just an introductory class. Okay, we will actually stop here. I'll start off oops tomorrow. I will also need time at stretch. Okay, so by the time we are on the 4th or the 5th day, I'll start giving you quizzes and exercises, which we'll also discuss in the class. I don't want to start with those things right now. Okay, so we'll start off with oops tomorrow and then we'll also see how oops it can be used with Selenium. We'll also learn about the different drivers which I have written out here. We'll also learn about the different drivers of Selenium, right? And that's it. Okay, so I'll stop here for today. I know time is left, but I don't want to like do so many things on the first day and start with oops. Okay. Anything from anyone?
So
Anything you
how
can
many
let.
days we have a class in a week?
We have 5 days a week, which is Monday to Friday Indian time.